Hey everybody, John Van Dyke here, New Jersey Expose. Today is Sunday, June 7th, 2020. Let's see what the time is. Time is 7:50 New Jersey time, not any other time. New Jersey time. So I'm down here in my happy place. It's a place I like to go to relax. It's quiet down here. I can walk, I can enjoy the nature. It's just a nice place. It's part of my past. I went to these stores at one time. I can remember standing out, this is where the buses all lined up along here, but I can remember being out here freshman year smoking cigarettes. You imagine that? 1974. We could smoke cigarettes out here. They had machines inside that sold ice cream and I think they had so I can't remember. It was candy, things like that. We had a student store, you could buy candy. You can't do any of that now. Can't do any of it. But back then in 1974, 75, 76, 77, because I was here for 3 years, you could do those things. Times have changed. And I think this place is a place I come to remind me where I've been and what I've done and where I'm at and what it took to get me to where I'm at, which is pretty much right back where I started. So anyway, as many of you know, I've been at several protests, 4 to be exact, 2 in Asbury Park, 1 in Keansburg, and the other one yesterday, June 6th, was in Matawan. Started in Keyport and ended in Matawan. And I went there, the first one, I went there to ventilate a little bit because I did unleash on a few officers over there, the ones with the blue flag. It irritates me. Well, I allow it to irritate me, would be the correct statement. And then when I went back for the next one in Asbury, it was a little bit different. I wanted to be more an observer, which I did. Same thing with Keansburg. I was there to observe. I was watching the crowd I think more than I was the police. I want to see who they were, what their ages and things. And one thing I find out about myself through the years, I am a people watcher. I watch people. I've been doing it all my life. I would go down to the mall and sit there and just watch people. I don't know why I'm watching them. I think maybe I'm just searching for answers. But I always found that I like watching people to see what they do. And as I got older, I got smarter, read more books in psychology and things like that. It made me even watch it more to see what's going on. And now that I'm approaching 60, which will be tomorrow, I really have, my eyes are wide open to a lot of things now. My brain really is just like, I can't explain it. When I was younger, I didn't have it. Now, I feel like I have it. I see things much more clearly, despite the fact that I have to wear glasses to read. So it takes me on to the thing here with the protest. What I saw the bulk of it was Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter. And I do disagree with them. What I saw happen out in Minnesota, I don't see evidence of it being racial. I didn't hear that officer call that man any racial slurs. In fact, none of the officers there on the body cams were picked up saying anything like that. This was a person that they knew, and that particular officer who put the knee on the neck had a little vendetta with him. They both worked in the same club, though I don't know how George Floyd could work in a nightclub if he had an arrest record. Here in New Jersey, you can't work around alcohol if you have an indictable offense against you. I mean, you've been to prison or jail. But anyway, I tend to think it was has something to do with females. But that's just a hunch. I have no evidence to confirm that. So I think it was more what that officer did was just being mean-spirited. And you had that Asian officer there, officer too tall, too short, I mean. I think he didn't know what to do. He just didn't know what to do. That thin blue line immobilized him. There's another officer there, I think Lance was his last name. He'd only been on the job a few days, if I heard right. So that man there, you're new on the job. You're following the pack. He's not going to 2, 3, 4 days a week on the job and he's going to go against the grain. The other officer, he said, hey, should we let off? Should we let off? And he's like, no. The other guy, Chauvin, said no. So it makes you wonder. Was Chauvin the head cheese there? The big cat on the... So, regardless, I saw it as a man hurting another man and 3 other officers standing by doing nothing. I think if that new officer had just jumped on Chauvin and knocked him off and held him down and said stop it, he might be the hero right now. And Chauvin and Floyd would be alive. But it didn't work out that way. So now we have all these protests going on, and for the most part, it's young people I see out there doing it. And it's a mixed race. It's white and it's black. It's not all black people out there doing it. It's white kids out there doing it. Early 20s, primarily what I saw. Now in Mattawan protests, I saw a lot more age groups there. I saw older people, but that may have to do with the neighborhood. I tend to think the neighborhood will define the protesters. So, that being said, they've turned it into a racial thing. And I want to say the politicians have turned it into a racial thing. I want to say the troublemakers out there, the radicals, they have turned it into a racial issue. Because the way they're going to do it is they're going to divide us people. They want to divide us so they can conquer us. And I don't understand what they plan to gain out of this, but they're using these young people to further their agenda. So I don't think it's a Black Lives Matter thing. I think it's a rights violation thing. I think it's police brutality. Those are the issues. Those are the 2 issues that I keep seeing reoccurring all the time, either in my own neighborhood or videos that I see. It is brutality committed by the police and violation of our rights committed by the police. And one can only conclude the reason they do this because they know for the most part they get away with it. And if they do get caught, nothing happens. They rewrite the narrative. The system protects them every time. I've got several videos out there that document how they get protected, how the system covers for them and gives them a way out all the time. And I've been screaming that these officers need to come with their own insurance so that they have a stake in the matter, a personal stake. They have to have a personal stake in the whole damn thing. Because right now they don't. They don't. The most that happens to them is they lose their job. Now we have Attorney General here in New Jersey, Gerber Grewal. I don't particularly like the guy, but he has talked about licensing officers. I think that's a great thing to do. I don't know why they're not licensed. They should be licensed, and they should come with their own insurance. Now people argue with me about the insurance. I know the unions don't like that idea. They don't want that qualified immunity thing. But I say you got to have it. Because, you know, they're supposed to be professionals. Well, if you're a doctor, you have insurance. If you screw something up, the patient can sue you, and then you have to pay it off. And if you get, this happens one too many times, guess what? Your insurance rates get so high you can't afford it anymore. It's the same thing with like driving. You act like a fool on the road too many times, you get too many points, you get, your insurance goes up, becomes difficult. And that's what we have to have. Now with police, nothing happens. And people will say, well, you know, there's good apples and bad apples in every bunch. Yeah. But those bad doctors, they're not gonna take my rights away from me. They're not gonna put me in a jail. They may kill me if they give me the wrong drugs, but they're not gonna shoot me. They're not gonna do those kind of things. Because there's repercussions that they do. And that's the difference with police. They don't have that. So, I want to say to law enforcement, you have to change the way you're doing things, because what you're doing is not working. It's wrong. And I want to go on the defense of law enforcement. They are being used too. They're a pawn in this whole thing also, people. You have these towns that have these budgets, and there's a line item there called anticipated court revenue. Well, who do you think sends the court the revenue? The police department sent it. So now the police are being used as revenue generators instead of being protectors that we keep hearing that they are. They're being used. They're pawns. They're being used. They're being pressured to go out there and harass citizens. And then they buy them equipment like plate readers, computers. Then they give them these dogs, which are nothing more than search warrants on a leash, so that when you get pulled over, they're going to break the dog out, and the dog's going to give you, you know, the officer gives them the secret signal, and then the dog gives you gives a proper stance. The next thing you know, they're searching your car. And then it just snowballs. And they go from being protectors to being enforcers, generators. That's not my idea of police. And one thing I like that's come out of this virus thing is one officer I know said to me Monday night in Asbury, I said to him, I says, you know, one thing I know is about the police with the virus, they're not out on the road harassing the motorists. He goes, nope, we're just being reactive. And I got to tell you something, folks. I like it. I would rather the police be reactive, because this proactive thing is what's getting them in trouble. One of the things that's getting them in trouble. So I would prefer the police be reactive, not proactive. And they need to start doing some of this protecting and serving that we keep hearing about, because I see very little evidence of it. I've been saying for a while now, they are here to protect the government. They're here to enforce government laws and generate revenue. Go watch cops. Any of your officers, watch what they do. They're not helping little old ladies across the street. Though I did catch one, but I think this is something that they were told to do. Brick Township Police been changing tires. I documented one of those. I don't think the officer enjoyed doing it. So let's get back to the protests. One of the big reoccurring things I kept hearing in the comments section is the knee. I'm not taking a knee for anybody. Kneeing is white shaming. Kneeing is this, kneeing is that. Well, I don't think that's what the cops were doing that for. My own personal opinion of the kneeing that the police were doing, in my observation, was how I saw them react or behave within the protest itself, not as people who stood by watching what's going on, but how they participated. I want to say they were pandering. Let's go, they probably had a meeting, because one thing I know about police, it's all calculated. It is all calculated. It's all part of the Facebook propaganda machine that they take advantage of now. So I'm sure there was some kind of meeting, the chiefs had a meeting, how to handle all this. So they're all taking a knee. Now, I can tell you when I was in Keensburg, I had a radio and I was listening to Keensburg Talk, the police, and I was on my way there, so I didn't have the camera going or anything like that. But over the scanner, what do I hear? I hear one of the female officers telling the other officers to all take a kneel. So that makes me think that it's orchestrated. It's not spontaneous. They told these officers, go down there, take a kneel, rub elbows, bullshit with these people, muck it up, whatever you want to call it, muck it up. And that's what they did. And when I was in Asbury, I saw a lot of officers out there talking to people, approachable. You know, I got good vibes off of some of them. But we got to remember, they can turn on you like that. Yeah, I was over there mucking it up in Matawan with the police chiefs, a couple there that I know, some I don't know as well. I know at least one of them there watches my videos because we had a conversation about it. But I know that they can turn on you in a heartbeat. They are order followers. These are people that go through life following orders. They don't think outside the box. If their commander-in-chief says jump up and down, do jumping jacks, they jump up and down, do jumping jacks. If they do ask the question, it's how high. They are order followers. Morality is not part of the game. Because if morality was part of their psyche, those three other officers in Minneapolis would have jumped on top of Chauvin and told him to knock it off. There's no way those other three officers could look at what that guy was doing and say to himself, that's the right thing that he's doing. That's the same, and the same thing goes out here, where is it, up in Buffalo, where that old man, which by the way is no angel, went up to those officers that were marching in, and he walked up and it looked like he went to grab something, and the officer pushed him out of the way. Now that officer didn't give him a big push. He just like, go, get out of here. Get away from me. And the guy's, you know, he's tall. He looks like he's on the frail side. Not very well coordinated. He fell backwards and cracked his head on the pavement. Where the officers are wrong, and this is where I say they don't have morality, or morality is not fostered, is how many of those officers walked by and just looked? There was one officer that was in the line there and he stopped to do something and he got shoved to continue ahead. That is the problem, people. They don't have morality, because anybody with morality, morals, would see that whether I like that old man or not, he fell down and cracked his head. This is not a good situation. I need to stop. I need to help. I have the skills or the tools necessary to assist this person. Whether he's right or wrong or not, it doesn't matter. He's still a human being, and I need to stop and do something. And there were several cops there. The one I talked to you, you could see him right there, right after that. He stopped. He turned to go, and then he got pushed to go ahead. A couple other officers kind of slowed down and looked, but the pack mentality kicked in. They just kept going. And that's the problem, people. That is the problem with police. They don't have morality. They're order followers. And until they stop taking those orders and start using morality as their creed, I don't know if much is going to change, people. You know, all this kneeling down that they're doing, picture taking, propaganda talk that they do at these rallies, to me it just means nothing. It means nothing. People ask me, well, what do I base my opinion on? I base my opinion on the gazillion videos that I've watched on YouTube that continue to come out day after day of them doing something to somebody. That's what I base my opinions on. And it's disappointing to me, and it bothers me that there are some officers out there that I talk to, and I want to like them. I want to be friends with them, but I know I can't. I know that it's not a healthy relationship, because there's a distrust there. I can't trust them. And there's one officer out there, Chief. He knows what I'm talking about. I think he's a nice guy. I went after him with a vengeance. I think he's a nice guy. I've seen him as a father. I've seen him get his promotion. Saw him as a husband, person in the community. And I think we kind of made up after our little tiff we had. But it's difficult for me to... I don't say difficult because I can do it, but it's just a weird relationship. Because I look at that person, it could be any person, not just him, but I look at them and I go, this man has the potential to turn on me. Is he using me? It's like the reverse. You know, sometimes they think we're using him, but I feel like, well, is he using me? What's he getting out of this? What am I getting out of this? Like I say, I'm friends with a chief. It doesn't mean a lot to me to say that. And that's the sad thing, you know, it's when we get to know each other as people. And really, that's another thing that law enforcement and us as community, we have to look at each other as people, as an individual. So, as I've said to people, when you get pulled over by the cops, you have nanoseconds to get your personality across them. You want that cop to think you're a nice guy. You want that cop to say, hey, you know, this is a nice guy. Probably could have a beer with him. I could sit down and eat a burger with this guy. That's what you want to get across. But you got nanoseconds to do it. And then the officer, his little problem is he stops you. He has a distrust. He doesn't know what you're going to do to him. So we have all this distrust. And how do we get around all this distrust? I don't know. I can tell you this, when we're in the bigger police departments, you don't have that community thing. When you get into the smaller departments like Union Beach, Keyport, these are two good examples. Keyport, Keyport, Union Beach, and Kingsburg. It's small towns. You see these cops all the time. They see you. Keyport sees me. Union Beach sees me because I'm down there. I'm hanging out, watching, you know, sitting in my car. Maybe I'm walking or whatever it is, interacting with them for some reason or another. That they get to know me as a person, and I get to know them as a person. And that in itself is a way to make things better. So I would say to police, you have to see us as people, not just potential arrest or a potential ticket. You got to see us as people. I'll give you a story. There was he was a sergeant, I think. This is going back in the early 80s. And we had, at the time, I was 22. And he said to me, he says, you know, I tell these officers, when you pull somebody over for motor vehicle stuff, you need to look at their shoes and see what kind of shoes they're wearing. Because the ticket you're giving them, that might be their food for the week. That might be their car payment, their car insurance payment or something. So that's the human side. I have another friend who's a retired lieutenant. And one of the things we've talked about, he said to me, he says, the problem with today's police, they don't have any people skills. So it's a job that requires people skills. It's a job that requires morality, but there is no morality because they want order followers. I don't have an answer for everything. I just think that we need to start hiring different kinds of police officers. I think that the emphasis needs to be on morality, not order following. I think the emphasis needs to be on protecting the neighborhood, not going out there and policing the neighborhood. You know, I've gotten after some police departments where they get on there. This is what really irritates me. They get on there and they go, hey, cars are broken into last night. Don't leave your keys in the car. But these are and I'm not going to mention the town because I've already crossed paths with the chief a couple times. I think he knows who I am. But several times they put on their Facebook blaming the public because their car got stolen because they left the key in the car. Well, yes, that is a reason. You should not leave your key in the car, but these people feel comfortable in their house and their property. They're not leaving the key in the car because they're stupid. They're leaving it because they're naive, but they feel they're in a good neighborhood. So the police have a way of turning it around and pointing, it's all your fault. You need to modify your behavior. But this is the same police department that sits in the middle of the road with plate readers. This is the same police department's car sits over in a parking lot in front of a motel on a major highway with his lights off, sitting there watching cars go by. This is the same police department that has 2 officers going up and down the road doing motor vehicle enforcement. Well, if the community is so damn safe, so important to us, why are you doing that? You're never going to stop all the nonsense on Route 35. It's a major highway. People go through. You could sit and do tickets all day long. You're not going to stop it. The only people that are going to stop are the people who live in the area. So where's the priority? The priority is they want to generate money instead of riding around in circles patrolling the neighborhood. They don't want to patrol the neighborhood. That's boring. You imagine how many times an officer has to go up and down the same street in the course of a shift? It's boring. They'd rather pull a car over and see if they can escalate and get an arrest out of the deal. And that's one of the problems. So, all right, I'm going to end this because it's 25 minutes long here. My message to police community out there, you need to start fostering morality. You need to start giving good police a platform where they can rise and shine. I pointed out a few officers in my videos that I thought were good. That female officer in Asbury, I saw her do nothing but talk to people the whole time I was there. She seems to be a likable person. These are the kind of officers you need to foster. These bad cops, they need a message to be sent to them that we're not tolerating your crap anymore. It's over. And if you act up, you're going to be gone. You're going to be without a job. That's the message that needs to be sent. And the other is just protect us so that when we're home sleeping, you're driving by and I know that Officer Smith is out there driving up and down the road every half hour. That's what I want to feel. I don't want to feel like when I get in my car I'm being stalked by cops. Because don't most of you out there feel like you're being stalked when you're out there? Your heart starts racing when a cop pulls you over? You know, these are the same people who think the cops are great and they're all here for us, but when they get pulled over, their heart is racing. Yeah, my heart rate picks up too, because I don't know what he's up to. So, I think police, you need to be, I like it better if you just be reactive, not proactive. I've always said, if we need you, we'll call you. And that's the way I think police need to be. If we need you, we'll call you. Otherwise, I don't want to see you. But I want to know if I call, you'll be there, and you'll be there quickly. And I would say stop with all the propaganda on your Facebook page. You handing out lollipops to kids isn't changing my mind any. In fact, it's making me think worse. Because I know what you're up to. You're up there, you're doing child manipulation. You're handing candy bars and lollipops and ice creams and free slushies at 7-Eleven. All you're doing is trying to manipulate that child's mind. You want to manipulate our minds. I don't want to see any more videos on YouTube of cops beating people up, of cops threatening to throw people off bridges, of cops tasing college kids in their car and smashing their windows and dragging them out. I don't want to see more videos of a man sitting in a car with his girlfriend who has a license to carry a gun, and all of a sudden he moved his finger the wrong way and the cop shoots him and he dies there on Facebook. I don't want to see any more videos like that. I don't want to see any more Walter Scott shooting a black man in the back because he was running away. That's what I don't want to see. I don't want to see videos of you and pictures of you handing out lollipops. I don't want to see it because that's not fixing the problem. This is Sean Van Dyke for New Jersey Exposed. It's just a rant, folks. Just some random ideas I had that I wanted to share with you. Let me know what you think in the comments section. Till next time, people.